Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here, nigga. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team fucking here.
Hey everyone, it's me, Monique. I am back and I am doing a new video. I have on, for my accessories, I have to show you, I have my Hello Kitty blinged out chain, which is one of my favorites that I've made. And I have just like some regular studs, you know, in my ear. And I have my 3-finger heart ring. And I just have this kind of like a tennis bracelet looking bracelet. I hope you can see it. And then of course I have my love bracelet. I know the lighting is kind of off. I'm still working with it. My favorite bracelet, my husband's. And then I have my wedding band. So yeah, that's what I have on for accessories. I just have a, let me see, I love New York tee with a pair of sweats. I'm just chilling at home and I decided to do this video. The person that asked me about what it was like to grow up in the Bronx, her YouTube name, and I'm not even sure if she still subscribes to me because it was so long ago. She probably like, she takes too long. I ain't watching her videos, but it was Queen of Hearts, Germany, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, she asked me and she's really cool. She is another YouTuber on here. I'm just going to answer the question of what is it like to grow up in the Bronx. Okay, without telling you my age, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the Bronx. I was born in Bronx Lebanon Hospital. The funny thing is I later worked there. So I grew up in a couple of projects. I grew up in the Pattersons. I grew up in La Fontaine. I grew up on Kingsbridge Terrace. And I also lived in a house on Kingsbridge Terrace first. And then I grew up in Edenwar. Yeah, Edenwar projects. And so those were like my stomping grounds. My grandmother lived in Roosevelt Island, so at times I was in Roosevelt Island. And, you know, overall, I was an only child for 12 years. No, 10 years. And in those different places in the Bronx that I lived, I loved it. Like, you know, the Pattersons, I remember going right in front of my building, playing outside in the park. I remember back in the day when they had like the free cheese and, you know, what they call no frills, like milk, powdered milk and stuff like that. And I have to tell you, like, those memories, they're so, like, they're like if they happened yesterday. They're in my head. They will never go away. I remember running to the coquito truck, which is, you know, it's this white truck where they have 2 barrels or 3 or 4 barrels of different flavored ices, and they scoop it up and you get them in these little Dixie cup type cups or whatever. And, you know, that was my favorite, the coquito. And for those of you that don't know, I'm half black, half Puerto Rican, so I have both, you know, of my family in my life. So I have a lot of Spanish memories, and I also have a lot of my, you know, West Indian memories and stuff. So I lived in the Pattersons, then I went to Kingsbridge, and I lived there, and I had like the best time ever. I was like one of the only girls in the block, so I played football with the guys, and I rode bikes, and, you know, I was all about walking here, walking there. Because I was an only child, my cousins were and are my brothers and my sisters. They, I love them. Like, some of the things that have happened in my life and the fun times have been with my cousins. God gave me my cousins because I didn't have siblings, and they were my siblings. And I spent every single weekend with all of them, and it was the coolest thing to go to each house. We would all gather up in one room, have sleepovers, you know, just have fun. Their friends were my friends were their friends. And it's still the same, you know, we're adults, but we still keep in contact and we're very close. So then from Kingsbridge, I moved to La Fontaine. No, well, I moved to Patterson's again for a little bit, and then I moved to La Fontaine, which happened to be the last block that I lived on. And it was 180th and 3rd Ave, around that area, La Fontaine. Well, Monterey Projects, yeah. So I lived there, and I had a lot of friends, and, you know, I just loved being in the Bronx. I loved roller skating. I went outside. I roller skated every day. I was, you know, hanging out with my friends in the front of the building, the back of the building. We would, you know, go on the weekends to Extremes, which was on Webster, and that was like a little teen club. We would go to Skate Key. Skate Key was the place to be, okay? We would go to Skate Key, and then there was a Skate Key in Allerton, and then it turned out, and they closed it, and it went over to 3rd Avenue, over by where the Patterson and the Mitchell Projects was, and we would always go skating every weekend, and they had, like, one side was the skating, and the other side was the dance floor. So, you know, we would get all dressed up, we'd go shopping on Friday, get dressed up, go to Skate Key, be there all night, have fun. Like, now I think about it, I was carefree. I would go 2 o'clock in the morning in the train, on the bus, whatever. You know, I didn't worry about somebody doing anything or whatever. I grew up there. I'm not worried about it. There's crime everywhere, but that's where I was from, so I didn't have a problem with it. I was with my cousins. Nobody was touching us, okay? So, like, that was a little bit of what we did. We went out to teen clubs. I love dancing. I was in a little Spanish dance group. I used to do that. I did a little bit of track. I was a cheerleader in high school. I tried step, but it just wasn't for me. And I also did a little bit of modeling and stuff. But I went to 3 high schools. Nope, I went to 2. I went to Health Opportunity, and that didn't last. It just wasn't for me, and it got to a point where some of my very, very close friends either left or we just bumped heads, and I was just like, it's time for me to go. So my cousin saved me, and she's like, you know, Titi, why don't you let her come to Lehman with me, and, you know, she'll be fine, and da-da-da-da. So they took me, they signed me up for Lehman, and once I got in there, it was like the world. Like, it was like, you know, the shows you see on TV, that's how it was. Everything was separated. These click here, this click there, this click there. But when I went there, everybody knew me, and I just felt welcomed. And the other school, I didn't feel like that. I felt like I had my clique, and that's it, and everybody else was just whatever. But in Lehman, I felt like I knew everybody. I became a cheerleader. I had, you know, some of my best times with my besties, and, you know, it was awesome. Edenwald Projects. My cousins lived in Edenwald Projects, and I made some really, really good friends. It was a group of guys, and I'm not going to throw any names for anybody because I don't want to make sure that nobody feels like I left them out, but there was a group of guys that were like my brothers. They were like so cool, and they were my cousin's friends, and like we had a blast. We hung out, we went to the park, we went to parties, we chilled in my aunt's house, we just had a blast. And you know what? I miss those times. I miss all of my times. I had a blast in New York. I loved walking to Fordham to go get some fresh gears. You know, I had to have the J's when they came out. And if I wanted them before they came out, I went to 125th and copped them. Paid a little bit extra, but I copped them before they came out. Going to Tremont. My mom would send me to Tremont to go and get, you know, groceries and stuff, or walking to Little Italy to get bread. And, you know, just all the little things. I miss the food. You know, I'm Puerto Rican. I eat Spanish food. Once I left New York, I was like, what the hell? Like, they don't cook the food like they cook in New York. I miss that. I miss White Castle. Oh, my God. If you know me, White Castle is my favorite. I know people are going to say something. They're going to be like, ew, whatever. Say whatever you want. I eat White Castle breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, that's my favorite. I love White Castle. So, like, that's one of the things that I miss about New York. The summertime, the freaking block parties, house parties. You guys do not know parties if you didn't go to house parties in the 80s, the end of the 80s or the early 90s. What? Clubs weren't even touching house parties. You went in there with your hair all nicely, freshly done. You walked out, poof, you was dancing all night. Of course, there would be a little bit of drama in some places, that's true, but you had fun. You knew everybody. My cousin lived over by Boston Road, so, you know, I was always going to Boston Road parties. I had my clique there, too. I feel like I had a clique everywhere. I had a clique on Roosevelt Island. I had a clique on Boston Road. I had a clique in Edenwood, clique in La Fontaine, Patterson's, like, everywhere. I was everywhere, and I love it. I love the fact that my youth was so fun. I wasn't in the house on the computer. I wasn't, there was no social networking. We was outside. We was playing basketball. We was playing, they had scullies with the tops. They used to shoot them, you know. They had hopscotch. We had double dutch. What? Double dutch? Yeah, we played double dutch. We played suicide. That was like a handball off the wall. I mean, hot peas and butter, like tag, you name it, we was outside. We was outside. When we got up, we ate, we went outside, we played all day, came back home, ate dinner, went to sleep, did it the next day. The block parties, amazing. The food, you know, the entertainment. I did a couple shows, you know, at our block parties. I would do it during Edenwood Day or during Monterey Day and stuff like that, because like I said, we used to do dance, and a lot of my friends, we were in dance. And I mean, what is there like else to say? I am who I am because of the Bronx. You know, sometimes people like in jobs or school, whatever, have told me, oh, you have a New York attitude. Yeah, because I don't take no crap from nobody. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not rude, but I'm not going to accept that given to me. I give you respect. I give you, you know, kindness. You give it back to me. If not, I'm going to put you in your place. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the Bronx. Let me see real quick. This is why it's hard to come off the top of your head and not write down things. In the summertime, you can go and get free lunch. So you go to any school that is offering free lunch. You go eat free lunch. You go to the pool, chill out. Once the pool closes, you go home, chill for a minute, go back to night pool, which was illegal. But, yeah, we went back to night pool. We had fun. We hung out at night. You know, everybody's always in the block. In high school, I would ride the bus every day with the same people. Some of them became stars, no names. You know, they forget you when they're up there. But I would ride the bus with, you know, some of those people. I've came across a lot of, you know, some of the rappers that you guys know. Some new, some old. You know, I grew up in a place where everybody was different, you know. You didn't have to be the same. A lot of people were the same, trust me. But you didn't have to be the same. You could be you. At least I know I was me. I wasn't trying to be like nobody else. I was that chick with the jeans and the Timbs and whatever, you know, shirt or whatever. That's me. I still do it. I still rock my jeans, my Timbs, my Jordans. Retros only, but I still rock them. And every now and again, I'll take the heels out because I got to. And nobody ever messed with me. If they did, I handled it. I'm a very sweet person, but I've been told I have a pretty vicious attitude. So I did get into a couple fights. I was jumped in school twice, and that was it. One of the major things. One of the reasons why I left one of my schools is because I got jumped. But I went to Lehman and it was fine. And that was what it was. So other than that, that's what it was like for me to grow up in the Bronx. Having my cousins, having my friends, going out every weekend, skate key. I would roller skate outside. We would go motorcycle riding in the summer. We would just do all kinds of stuff. So that is exactly what it was like for me to grow up in the Bronx. And if you have any other questions, let me know. I hope you liked it, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.